Good morning, children.
Good morning, ma'am.
We have learned about different types of immunity last class. So today also you are going to continue with the same. So to get that idea, like because of the exams, I don't know how far you have revised. So we will just see those slides quickly and then we'll continue with today's topic. All the exams are over now? Yes. We learned that immunity is the ability of a body to, it's the ability of a body to, or ability of our immune system to fight against infections. And we learned that there are two main types of immunity, innate immunity and what was the second one? Acquired immunity. Under innate immunity, we learned about different barriers, cellular, cytokine barriers, physiological barriers and physical barriers. Then we learned about acquired immunity also. Acquired immunity, as we had already learned, it's a pathogen specific immunity and it is characterized by memory. So we also learned about the difference in the intensity of the responses, both first and second response. We compared it. The first response will be of low intensity, whereas the second or anamnestic response will be of higher intensity. And both these responses are brought about by B and T lymphocytes. B lymphocytes, they produce antibodies. T lymphocytes will assist the B cells to produce antibodies. And we also learned about the structure of an antibody molecule last class, which comprises of 2 light and 2 heavy chains of polypeptides. After that, we proceeded to different types of immune responses. The different immune responses we dealt with coming under acquired immunity. The first one, humoral immune response, we even call it as AMI or antibody mediated immune response. As the name suggests, it is brought about by this immune response is brought about by antibodies, and you call it as humoral immune response because these antibodies are produced in the blood plasma. Plasma being a humor, we call it as humoral immune response. And we proceeded to cell mediated response after that. And cell mediated immunity, it is the immune response which is brought about by T lymphocytes. All these points were covered last class. So that is why you call it a cell mediated. T lymphocytes are the type of cells that brings about this immune response. And we also learned that it is because of this particular immune response, there might be graft rejections because your body is able to distinguish between self and non-self because of the immune responses brought about by T lymphocytes. And that is why the tissue matching and blood group matching have got so much of significance in organ transplantation. Apart from that, after organ transplantation, the patient will be advised or they will be given lifelong immunosuppressant or immunosuppressive drugs so that later in his life the graft rejection, the organ which is transplanted will not be rejected by your own body. And then we learned that acquired immunity can be categorized into two. So what we dealt with already are the two types of acquired immune responses. Antibody mediated immunity, cell mediated immunity coming under acquired immunity. Yet another classification of acquired immunity is active and passive. Active immunity is the immunity in which your body is made to produce antibodies. Okay, your body will produce antibodies on its own in response to an antigen that is entering your body. This antigen can be introduced artificially or naturally. When you are naturally getting an infection, you get an infection by interacting with an affected person, then that antigen might enter into your body and your body will produce antibodies against it. That is natural. But when we introduce it artificially. The antigens are introduced artificially by means of vaccines. So vaccines are specific. Suppose against polio, disease, the disease polio, if you are taking vaccination, that vaccine contains a weakened or dead polio virus, which will make your body release antibodies against it, which will remain in our body, and later on in your life, when the real or the not dead, the live ones or the original active viruses enter your body, you won't get affected. Why? Because already your body is prepared. It's not a sudden attack. Your body has released antibodies and ready to fight it with much more strength, because your body is prepared for it. Same thing, no, like in the border attack and all, if you're not aware that a neighboring country is going to attack us, we might get defeated because we are not prepared for it. But you got a rumor or you got from some spy that we are going to have an attack in the border, and you're prepared. If our army is prepared for that, you can easily defeat them because you are prepared well in advance for the attack. Same thing happens in the case of vaccine. Natural active immunity during infection and artificial active immunity, as I told you, in the case of immunization or vaccination. When vaccine is introduced in your body, that process is known as immunization. Okay, and your body produces antibodies. So that was about the two types of acquired immunity. I told you it can be categorized into active and passive, and under active we learned about the two subdivisions. Similarly, under passive immunization also you will be learning two categorizations, that is natural and artificial. And in the first one, in active immunity, I told you your body is made to produce antibodies. Either naturally, by means of natural infection, or by making our body artificially release these antibodies, as in the case of vaccine. But here, ready-made, the burden of your body is less. Your immune system doesn't have to work much. Prepared antibodies are given, so that your body need not produce antibodies, already prepared ones. And this happens usually in the case of anti-tetanus serum, snake venom and all, when you have to save time. So it is always desirable to give the prepared antibodies. Ready-made antibodies are directly given to the body. And in artificial passive immunity, as I already told you, anti-tetanus serum or anti-venom. When a person is taken to the hospital after getting bitten by a snake, then they cannot wait. So in such cases, to save the life of the person, this prepared antibodies will be released or will be provided, so that we can save time as well as the life of the person. The natural passive immunity, here also we get prepared antibodies, that is the source of these antibodies is our mother. So through the placenta also we receive certain antibodies, and also through the colostrum, the milk produced by the mother soon after the birth of the child. So that is also rich in antibodies. We also learned about the names of those antibodies. Immunoglobulin G, we obtain it through the placenta from the mother, and immunoglobulin A through mother's milk. Immunoglobulin A and G are the two main antibodies that we get from our mother. This much I think we had completed. Again we are continuing with immunity. So I thought we'll just have a quick recap. Any confusion, any of the slides you want clarification, you can ask me now. No doubts at all. Okay. Now here in the flow chart, whatever points we had discussed in a nutshell, it is shown over here. See, here you can see immunity broadly categorized into acquired immunity and innate immunity. Acquired immunity is further classified into natural and artificial. Both natural and artificial are subdivided into two, passive and active. Artificial is also, as you can see, passive and active. Passive immunization from the mother you are getting antibodies. In active immunization, antigen enters your body through infection, and then your body will be made to produce antibodies against it. And in artificial, passive, as I told you, by directly injecting the prepared antibodies into the body, as in the case of anti-tetanus serum or snake venom. Whereas in case of active immunity, artificial active immunity, it is with the help of vaccine. So once vaccine is introduced into your body, that is containing antigens, and your body produces antibodies. Is it confusing? Two types of immunity, acquired and innate. Acquired is further classified into natural and artificial. Under natural and artificial, we have both categories, active and passive. Okay? If you can memorize this flow chart, then there won't be any confusion. Again, the same thing, with the help of the picture it is given, active immunity and passive immunity. In a different way, they have subdivided, same thing, but in a different pattern they have given active immunity into natural and artificial, passive also natural and artificial. And as you can see in the figure, this is naturally we get exposed to these antigens, and by means of infections, when you get infected by microbe, antigens enter your body and you produce antibodies. And in artificial, vaccine is introduced in your body, and this vaccine contains antigens and your body produces antibodies. Now, passive immunity, there naturally from your mother, the antibodies through even through placenta or by means of colostrum, the breast milk, it enters our body or it enters the body of the babies. And artificial is by means of prepared antibodies. So we produce antibodies, and these antibodies, artificially antibodies can be produced and they will be directly introduced into the body of the person in order to cure diseases like tetanus, or to save the life of a person suffering from or after getting affected by or after getting bitten by a snake. In order to save his life, so we can go for artificial passive immunity, where antibodies, prepared antibodies or preformed antibodies are introduced into the body. Immunization. Now let's learn about immunization. Already I told you what is meant by immunization. Introducing vaccine into your body. We call that process of developing immunity by taking vaccine or injecting vaccine into the body of the person as immunization. This is based on the memory of the immune system. Why we say it is based on the memory of the immune system? These vaccine, I said, it doesn't contain any organisms or antigens that can cause disease in us. Either it will be dead or it will be inactive. In either cases, it won't cause disease in us. But we are fooling our immune system and thinking that these immune system, or assuming that these are causative organisms, they can damage the body, the body will be releasing antibodies. And immunization also, you can categorize active immunization, as in the case of vaccination, here preparation of vaccine. Antigenic proteins of the pathogen or inactivated pathogen is introduced into a body. Okay. Now that is active immunization. So we are learning about categorization of immunization. Immunization, you can classify it into two types. Active immunization, same as vaccination. Introducing vaccine into your body is known as vaccination. So a preparation of vaccine will be introduced into your body, and these vaccine consists of, as I told you, inactivated or dead pathogen, or it can be even the antigenic proteins present in the antigenic proteins of the pathogen, which can make your body, stimulate your immune system to release antibodies. It results in the development of antibodies. During actual infection, the antibodies will neutralize antigen. So we are prepared for that. Like we are taking vaccination for COVID-19 now. So once these vaccines are there are chances that later when you get affected by the active virus, your body can defend it much more easily than a person who has not taken a vaccine or who has not undergone any vaccination. So during actual infection, because already as soon as you introduce this vaccine in your body has started producing antibodies which will not disappear, it will remain there, which are specific. And when the real later onwards in your life, when the active ones, when the energetic or fully active pathogens who are able to cause disease, when they enter your body can easily neutralize because your body is well prepared for the same. The vaccines, they also generate, I told you they are generating, they are producing, making your body, stimulating your immune system to produce antibodies. Apart from that, they too generate memory B and T cells, which will, I told you, it is characterized by memory. Because once you have these antibodies in your body, next time when the same microbe is entering, already even though it is in the inactive form, your body has been exposed to those antigens. So next time when the active ones enter your body can recognize. So memory B and T cells are produced by vaccines, which will help in recognizing the pathogen easily and starting to attack, or then it will start to attack with the help of those antibodies. Polio vaccine, hepatitis B vaccine, DPT vaccine. Polio and hepatitis you are familiar with. DPT, diphtheria, pertussis, tetanus, 3 diseases. So this vaccine is for against 3 diseases. Vaccines are produced using DNA recombinant technology, and vaccines, you know, these are artificially being produced, and this is carried out with the help of DNA recombinant technology. I am not going into detail with the DNA recombinant technology because in chapter 12 and 13 biotechnology you will be learning in detail the tools of DNA recombinant technology, the processes involved, step by step you are going to learn. We modify the DNA, all that we will learn later. Now for the time being, just be familiar with the term with the help of DNA recombinant. That from that recombinant itself you can understand the original DNA is modified, it is recombined. Foreign piece will be introduced into the normal DNA. Details we will learn later. So using DNA recombinant technology, we can produce vaccines artificially. Hepatitis B vaccine is produced with the help of yeast. Similarly, using bacteria, we can produce insulin artificially. Insulin is not a vaccine, but it is a hormone, and people who are suffering from diabetes, where there is shortage, when the pancreas are defective and not producing enough amount of insulin, we can make use of the artificial insulin, which will not cause harm, because earlier we used to depend upon the insulin extracted or produced from pigs, cattle, etc., which cause so much of allergic problems. But here by recombinant DNA technology we are capable of producing human insulin artificially. Details we will learn later, as I already told you. So once again, active immunization we learned, the categorization of immunization we were dealing with. We started with active immunization, we even call it as vaccination, whereby vaccines are introduced into your body. Apart from making your immune system to release antibodies, they will also release memory B and T cells, memory B and T lymphocytes or memory B and T cells, which will help in recognizing these pathogens. In the second attack they can easily recognize and start attacking against them with the help of the antibodies. Examples of so many vaccines are given, and we can prepare these vaccines artificially using DNA recombinant technology. One example is given here. Hepatitis B vaccine is produced from yeast. Now moving on to passive immunization. So active immunization, hope you have understood. Any doubts, any slide you need to see again? No. Okay. It is a direct injection of preformed antibodies. As we said in the case of passive immunity, same thing here also. Here directly the antibodies already prepared, preformed antibodies or antitoxin or antivenom, these are directly introduced in your body. And children, what we learned earlier was, once it is introduced, once preformed antibodies are introduced in your body, the immunity developed is passive immunity. You have learned it. But this process, passive immunization, is a process where you don't get confused. Earlier also we discussed that preformed antibodies are being introduced into your body. So then that immunity developed is known as passive immunity. But here it is passive immunization. That is the process by which we inject preformed antibodies or antitoxin into the body of the person, and this is necessary for generating quick immune response. Immunization against tetanus. Sir? Immunization against tetanus, snake venom, etc. Clear? Is that clear, children? Shall I proceed? If you want to note down, you can tell me, or else I will continue. Fine, no? You can make use of your hand gestures, thumbs up, thumbs down. Okay, okay. So we have completed immunity. The different types of immune responses, different types of immunity, different types of immunization, all that we have completed, children. There are chances that you get confused, and here you can make use of the flow charts. So as you have understood, you can make mind maps or flow charts. You might have heard about concept map, mind map, you know that. I think you might be doing it, maybe you might not have named it like that, but you might be doing like the gist of the textbook. So earlier I showed you a flow chart, no, like immunity divided into two, isn't it? Active, passive, active again divided into artificial, natural. In that way, wherever you get confused, if you make such flow charts, you will never forget. You make some mind map or concept map, so that's its classification. This is very useful when some classifications come. So there are chances, and those words are also similar words. Active immunization, active immunity, artificial immunization, artificial immunity. So where all these terms are coming, so with the help of the flow chart, in your lecture notes itself, you write it or you note it down or you draw it, and you can use your own imaginative skills for doing it, and like need not be rectangles or circle, whatever shapes you want to use, you can include, you can color it and keep, so that it get easily registered. So there is so much of significance for colors in your life, you know that, no? When it is colorful, I agree that black and white is extremely beautiful, and at the same time colors has got its own significance. When you highlight in the textbook itself, everything is in black and white, and suddenly you are highlighting a particular sentence. Next time when you open the textbook, that line only you will see first. Am I right? So same way in the lecture notes also you can make use of colors, highlight, color it, so that as soon as you open the book, these things gets registered in your mind and you will never forget. And about the significance of mnemonics also I have told you earlier, as we can easily remember, like Vibgyor, the simple example for a mnemonic. From lower class your teachers might have taught you, and just by memorizing that mnemonic, you can remember all the colors in the rainbow in a proper order. Same way, whenever you get stuck up or when you get confused, make use of such tips and tricks, so that memorization will be much easier. Now next we are going to learn about allergies. Before we discuss about allergies, I am hearing only my voice. I agree that I won't be able to hear your voice, but at least you try. I will just read your lips. So, summarize the points that we learned today. We can start from where? Types of acquired immunity. Tell me what is the difference between active and passive immunity, Sania?
Active immunity is the one
Visible movement. I should get some visible and easily notable movements of your lips. Okay.
immunity in which our body produces antibodies.
Antibodies are being produced in your body. How these antibodies will be produced? Meenakshi, how in active immunity antibodies are being produced? Either by
Natural immune activity,
either by natural infection or by
artificial.
how it is artificial.
By artificial immunity, we are injecting the antibodies by the microbes.
With the help of vaccine or immunization. And we learned about two types of immunization, active immunization and passive immunization. Nandana, what is the difference between active and passive immunization?
In active immunization, the vaccines are produced into the body and the antibodies are created by the body. And passive immunization, ready-made antibodies are introduced.
Okay, so in active immunization, as she said, we will be introducing vaccine into your body and your body will be made to produce antibodies. Whereas in passive immunization, the preformed antibodies will be injected into your body and then your body develops artificial immunity. That process is artificial immunization. Okay, so hope you have understood. Now we are proceeding to allergies. How many of you have allergy to one or the other substance? Anybody is having allergy? Meenakshi, only Meenakshi, I am allergic to dust. And if I keep sneezing maybe 10-15 times, at a stretch I'll continue. And the whole, my neighbors will think from where this, see my size is this much and the sound which I produce while sneezing, can't believe. Okay, Sania, only Meenakshi and myself, no one else. Oh, all are very healthy. Steffi also. Steffi is allergic to?
Most of the things.
Louder.
Most of the things. Dust, then
Will you message me? And Meenakshi?
Dust, ma'am.
Dust. Okay. Some people are allergic to food items. Milk, seafood. So some people might be allergic to food items also, and that is, papaya also, dust, wind, papaya, wind or breeze. Breeze you might be enjoying, no? Okay.
yes, ma'am.
And papaya also, ripe and raw one, both you are allergic.
Not the ripe one, the raw one. No, the
Some
ripe
people,
one.
I still remember that in my previous school, one child was allergic to milk. And I don't know what happened one day. He was going for some treatment, or he was going somewhere, and on the way he felt thirsty, and father bought him a milkshake, mango milkshake. I think they had told the shopkeeper that he should not add milk. I don't know what happened. The real story I don't know, but unfortunately the child passed away. But the father was carrying its medicine for that, some injection he was carrying, and he took him to the nearby hospital but couldn't save life. That means in some people the allergic reactions can be that severe, it can be fatal also. And in certain cases, in certain people, when they eat prawns, the whole body will start itching and then red rashes will appear. It depends. And in case of dust allergy and all, we might sneeze, and until the dust is cleared off, then maybe in some people later it can, depending upon the intensity, it can lead to wheezing and all. But in some people they just, Punya, I will answer you. Okay. In between, what I was saying, in some people it can change to asthma in the long run. In some people, I think nowadays we have medicines to completely cure it, but some allergic reactions are very difficult, then you have to take care of your health. You have to avoid such situations. So when, if you are allergic to dust, as far as possible, try to avoid such situations or such surroundings. Then if seafood you are allergic, then avoid such food items only. That is the option. And you can have medicines, and some of the allergy can be completely cured. Some we have to take lifelong medicine. You may not get a cure for the same. Allergies, we already discussed about allergies. Different types are there. It's an exaggerated response of the immune system. So your immune system becomes a little hyperactive, I should say. The exaggerated response of the immune system to certain antigens. Not all. There might be some specific objects or specific substances against which we produce some allergic reactions. The exaggerated, normally immune response, like when some dust particle enters your nose, everyone will sneeze. But in these people, it will be a little extra. Exaggerated response of your immune system to certain antigens present in the environment. And allergens, as the name suggests, any substance that can cause allergy, you call it as allergens. Mites, small organisms in the dust, pollen grains, and some of them, if they smell flowers and if the pollen enters their, if they inhale these pollen grains, then they can start allergic reaction. Then animal dander, the hair and fur of the body, from the body of the animals, that also can cause allergy. So there are so many, n number of objects against which allergic reactions are produced, but it will be different for different people. So here some examples are given: bee sting, medication, some medicines. Some people, when they take certain medicines, they can, that is why in the hospital when you go, they might ask, are you allergic to any particular medicine? Because in such cases they'll try to avoid and substitute it some other medicine. So medicines can cause allergy, bee sting, then what else, inhaling pollen, dust, mold and mildew, like what to say, fungal particles, if it is inhaled. Then animal dander, jewelry, some jewelry, like some people, if they wear imitation gold, then sudden itching, red rashes will appear. Then again animal dander, latex, poison plants. So many objects are there, nuts, shellfish. It's different for different people. Okay, and some might be allergic to more than one substance, and some might be allergic to just one object. So that depends. Antibodies produced against the allergens are of immunoglobulin E. We learned about immunoglobulin A already, G also we mentioned, and which will be passed. These antibodies A and G are passed from the mother to the child, and the antibodies produced against allergens. When some allergens, when some allergy causing substance enters your body, the antibodies produced in response to that are immunoglobulin E. Antibody E, immunoglobulin E. Allergy is due to the release of certain chemicals like histamine and serotonin from the mast cells. I think last year also you have learned about mast cells. From the mast cells, certain chemicals will be released, and these are responsible for these exaggerated responses. Histamine and serotonin are produced, and they will produce these allergic reactions. See, I had a colleague in my previous school. Normally when it's ant bite, we will have some red rashes, itching, a small rash, and it will subside after some time. But for that teacher, if in case of ant bite, what happens is she gets breathing difficulty, the whole body gets swollen up. So that is what I said, we all produce some, we respond to any antigen entering your body. But in these people, in people who are allergic, that will be exaggerated more than the normal. So then you call it as allergy. So I'll repeat again. Histamine and serotonin are released from the mast cells in response to any of the allergens, and that is responsible for these substances are responsible for allergic reactions. Once again, allergy is the exaggerated response of the immune system to certain antigens present in our environment, and any substance that cause allergy, you call it as allergen. So many examples are there. Here a few are mentioned: dust, pollen grain, animal dander, fur, etc. And immunoglobulin E will be produced in response to any of the allergens, immunoglobulin E. And then I told you allergy is mainly due to two chemicals which are released from mast cells. These are serotonin and histamine. Clear? Symptoms: sneezing, watery eyes, running nose, difficulty in breathing, skin rashes, commonly seen symptoms. Okay? Watering of eyes, running nose, sneezing, difficulty in breathing, itching, rashes. Edema. Edema means swelling of your body. For determining the cause of allergy, so if we need to treat the disease, we should know. In the beginning, we might not know what is the exact cause of the allergic reaction. So for determining the cause of allergy, the patient will be exposed to, or he will be injected with small doses of all the possible allergens, and then the reactions will be studied so that the doctors can find out to which substance the person is allergic, or to which all substances he is allergic to, and then accordingly they can carry out the treatment. Drugs like antihistamine, adrenaline and steroids quickly reduce the symptoms of allergy. So if with some allergic reaction, if you go to the hospital, they'll give you an injection, then all the swelling, rashes, all that will disappear. So that gives you instant relief, but that doesn't mean that you are cured of the allergy. Again, when you get exposed to same situations with the allergens, you will get again the same symptoms. Sneezing, watery eyes, running nose, difficulty in breathing, skin rashes, etc. are the commonly found symptoms. And for determining the cause of allergy, the doctors will expose the patients to some of the common allergens, or these will be injected in small doses in such a way that it is not harming, it doesn't harm the person. It will be injected into the body, and later the reactions or the reactions produced by his body will be studied, and then they go for further treatment. And for instant relief or quick relief, antihistamine, adrenaline and steroids will be injected into your body. The main thing what you can do is, as far as possible, try to avoid such situations or such food items which can cause allergy. So we'll be continuing next class. So give me a quick recap on allergy, the topic allergy. Evelyn, what is meant by allergy?
Allergy is the exaggerated response of immune system to any antigen present in the environment.
Exaggerated response of our immune system to certain substances. And what are allergens? Rijas, what do you mean by allergens?
Substance which cause allergy. Substances which causes allergy.
Any substance that can
Which
cause
causes allergy.
allergic reactions. What are the two chemicals released from mast cells responsible for the allergic reactions, Michael? How long you will take for adjusting all that? You know the answer?
No, I didn't write that.
You have to find out. No. Very good. He is saying he doesn't know. Did he say that he is not knowing the answer? Michael, just message me, no?
I don't know. I didn't write
You don't know.
No.
Malavika?
It's histamine and serotonin.
Histamine and serotonin. These are the two substances. What are they, Michael?
Histamine and serotonin.
Histamine and serotonin. So, have you understood? Simple topic, no? Allergy, allergens. By the time we have a class here next, I think the audio problem will be solved. So, see you soon. Today we have one more period. Which board? 11. Okay. So, these review questions I will be asking again in the next period. Okay, thank you children.
Thank you, ma'am.